Have you ever noticed that the loudest person in the room rarely holds the most power? It's almost always the quiet observer, the one who watches, listens, and carefully chooses their words. Silence, when used wisely, is not emptiness, it's influence. In a world where everyone is rushing to speak, those who pause to listen gain the greatest advantage. The truth is, most people believe speaking more makes them look smart, confident, or important. They want to be heard, and in that rush, they often reveal too much. They expose their emotions, their weaknesses, and even their strategies. But silence acts like a shield. It keeps your thoughts private, your emotions steady, and your presence mysterious. When you speak less, you give yourself the chance to understand people. You notice details, the tone of their voice, the expressions on their face, the things they say and the things they don't say. These small observations reveal more than hours of talking ever could. Silence is not about being passive, it's about being intentional. Think about it, when someone speaks rarely but thoughtfully, people stop and listen. Their words carry weight because they are not wasted. On the other hand, when someone talks constantly, their voice becomes background noise, and people stop taking them seriously. That's the difference, quality over quantity. The greatest leaders, negotiators, and thinkers know this secret. They don't rush to fill the silence. They let others reveal themselves, while they remain calm and observant. By the time they speak, they already understand the situation better than anyone else. So, remember this, silence is not weakness, and observation is not inaction. Together, they form a strategy that can change how people see you. The less you say, the more you know. And the more you know, the more powerful you become. Let's dive into a real-life story that shows why speak less, observe more is so powerful. Amir was a young employee in a fast-growing company. He believed that to get noticed, he had to talk more in every meeting. He wanted to sound smart, so he would interrupt colleagues, jump in with half-formed ideas, and repeat what others had already said. He thought his voice would prove his worth. But the truth? Nobody took Amir seriously. His boss often looked away during his long speeches. His co-workers felt he was just adding noise instead of value. Amir couldn't understand why he wasn't making progress. One day, Amir decided to try something new. Instead of rushing to speak, he stayed silent in the meeting. He watched carefully. He noticed that most of his colleagues were trying too hard to impress the boss with big words. But the boss's eyes lit up only when someone gave a clear, simple solution. Amir realized something: the boss didn't care about who talked the most. He cared about who observed and understood the problem. So Amir waited patiently. He listened to every argument, every suggestion. He took notes quietly. And when the discussion reached a dead end, he raised his hand and shared one short, well-thought-out idea. The entire room went quiet. For the first time, his boss leaned forward, smiled, and said, "That's exactly what we need." That moment changed Amir's career. He learned that silence gave him power. By observing first and speaking later, his words had weight. He didn't need to talk for 10 minutes. Just one smart sentence made more impact than all his previous speeches combined. From that day, Amir became known as the man who spoke rarely, but whenever he did, people listened. His story proves a timeless truth: people respect not the loudest voice, but the voice that speaks with clarity, wisdom, and purpose. Observation is more than just looking around, it's about truly understanding. When you observe, you pick up signals that most people miss. You notice body language, tone, hesitation, or excitement. You learn not just what people say, but what they really mean. Think of it this way: when you listen more, you collect information. And information is power. If you know what motivates people, what scares them, or what excites them, you can navigate conversations and situations with confidence. Observation gives you control without you having to dominate the room. Leaders, negotiators, and entrepreneurs all rely on this skill. They allow others to talk while they sit quietly, absorbing everything. By the time they speak, they already know what works and what doesn't. That's why their words sound powerful. It's not magic, it's preparation through observation. Another hidden benefit of observation is protection. When you rush to speak, you expose yourself. You reveal your emotions, your weaknesses, or your secrets. But when you hold back, you learn more about others while keeping your cards close. You become unpredictable, and unpredictability is strength. In personal life, too, observation works wonders. Imagine an argument. Most people shout to prove they're right. But if you stay calm, listen, and observe the other person's emotions, you'll know exactly what to say, or not say, to resolve the situation. Silence disarms anger, while observation gives you the upper hand. The truth is, observation is not passive. It's an active skill that requires patience and awareness. It's the ability to step back and see the full picture before making a move. And in a world full of noise, being the one who sees clearly is like having a superpower. If you ever doubt the power of silence and observation, just look at nature. The jungle is full of lessons about survival and strength. The loudest animals, the birds that chirp, the monkeys that scream, are rarely the most dangerous. They make noise to be noticed, but notice this, they are also the easiest to catch. Now think of the tiger. It doesn't roar all day. It walks silently, watching every movement, every sound, every smell. It observes its prey with patience. And when it finally moves, it strikes with precision. The silence of the tiger is not weakness, it's strategy. The lion too, known as the king of the jungle, does not waste energy making noise all the time. It roars only when it must. Most of the time, it stays calm, alert, and ready. Its silence commands respect because others know that when it chooses to act, it will be powerful. Humans are no different. The people who talk endlessly often lose credibility. But the ones who observe, listen, and speak rarely are remembered. Their words carry weight because they are backed by thought, not impulse. Even water teaches us this lesson. A noisy stream splashes and rushes, but the deep ocean remains calm, silent, and powerful. Depth is silent, shallowness is loud. The same applies to human beings. The deeper your wisdom, the quieter your presence. Nature reminds us that silence is not empty, it is full of observation, preparation, and strength. And when the time comes, one silent but strong action is more powerful than 1,000 loud words. Now the question is, how can you apply, speak less, observe more, in your own life? Here are some powerful steps. In conversations, let others talk first. People reveal their intentions, fears, and desires when they speak freely. By observing, you gain insight others miss. In arguments, instead of rushing to prove yourself right, stay calm. Listen. When the other person runs out of words, speak with clarity. Your silence will have already disarmed them. In learning, be the student who listens more than talks. Talking repeats what you already know. Listening teaches you what you don't know. In leadership, a true leader does not dominate with noise. They inspire with silence, with presence, and with carefully chosen words. People trust a leader who listens before speaking. In personal growth, practice pausing. Before reacting, breathe, observe, and then respond. This simple act can change how people see you. Remember this golden truth. The less you speak, the more value your words carry. People remember silence paired with wisdom, but they forget endless chatter. So, starting today, try this experiment. In your next conversation, talk less than usual. Observe more. Watch how people reveal themselves, how they open up, and how they begin to respect your silence. Slowly, you'll notice something powerful, your presence will grow, and your words will begin to matter more. The secret to influence, respect, and wisdom is not in making the most noise, it's in making the least but most meaningful noise. Speak less, observe more, and let your silence make the loudest impact.
Your silence is not your weakness, it's your greatest strength. Speak less, observe more, and watch how the world begins to listen.